So I want to preface this whole video by saying when I mention people's names and talk about certain things in their videos, it's not to put down people, it's not to discredit people, but it's just to state the facts and understand the situation and kind of what I've been saying and I've made videos about with this news we've heard about this Prismatic Evolutions ETB reprint. So like I said, when I use these names, because I'm going to cite my sources from where I got information from, just to make the story very clear, I'm not putting anyone's credibility down or really anything. I'm just citing my sources. So when I mention these people's names, it's not in any bad intentions. So just know that. So there's been some news, some updates about this reprint we're having with Prismatic Evolutions, and it all started with Danny Phantom. Everybody knows him, right? Nice guy, seems genuine. He came out with a video where he stated that we were getting reprints of Prismatic Evolutions ETBs, and honestly I was very shocked because the last time we saw an ETB reprint was when we haven't seen like any. For 151, all we've seen are booster bundles. Every other set we really haven't seen of either, like Paldean Fates, no ETB reprint, and then all of a sudden we hear about Prismatic. It was very strange to me that we'd get an ETB reprint and not like booster bundles, which would make way more sense because if you think about it, that's what they've been doing this entire time, right? Reprinting booster bundles. Why? Because it's the most efficient way to get packs out into the market. That's like the most efficient way. So it was very strange to me that they would reprint ETBs, but apparently that was what was happening. And Danny Phantom is a pretty reliable source. He has distribution. He doesn't really have any like bad intentions. So I wasn't not believing him. And there's been more sources confirming that it's true. But I want to talk about, and I've made a video about it, about I guess his way he was coming off in the video. Danny Phantom, like I said, no bad intentions, but I feel like there was possibly some false hope being given in the video a little bit by how he was explaining things. He was making it seem like, prices are really going to decrease a ton because of this news. He said it was going to be pretty big. He didn't think that distribution was going to upcharge much. And he was making it seem like it was a great thing. Now, if you actually look at the comments of the video, a lot of people, surprisingly, were saying that it was going to do nothing, because I think at this point a lot of people have sort of learned and adjusted to this market and just know that these reprints and everything, there hasn't been a single big one, so everybody was like, you know what, this doesn't mean anything, it doesn't matter. And that's how a lot of people were reacting to the news, even though he was saying that supposedly this reprint was going to be meaningful. Yeah, so like I said, that's what Danny Phantom said, and I didn't really discredit him or anything. I was like, maybe it is possible because they did make that statement. Maybe they've reprinted a ton of these. It would be surprising, and I made a video talking about it, kind of to be wary where your information is coming from, because obviously Danny Phantom, he's on the collecting side. He cares about having lower prices and more affordable stuff, which is reasonable, right? Especially at these prices. So it seems like the video was kind of in my opinion, being a little bit too bullish on the side of prices really decreasing a lot. And I feel like it was giving a little bit of false hope, but like I said, maybe he had some inside information no one had, and maybe this was a huge thing. But we have a revelation. Another YouTuber that has distribution. I've talked about him before. I think he's now in the community more known to be reputable, because obviously there was one point where he had reprint information that nobody else really was talking about. He mentioned it and everyone said it was a rumor, and it became true, and then now everybody sort of believes him. A non-TCG, everybody at this point I think has seen the video where he talked about all those other reprints. So he's got an update, and I watched the video of this reprint news. So he actually has information. So I'm just going to sort of summarize the video very quickly. So apparently he's also getting some 151 poster collection cases, which is sort of surprising. I wonder if those are reprints or those that have just been held back. But I feel like 151 at this point, like I'm pretty sure, like if it was held for that long, it'd be kind of strange. But maybe that's getting reprinted too, who knows? But he's getting like some cases, like 5 or 6 cases of those poster collections. But talking about the ETBs, right? Because that's what we're talking about here. He has information from the Distributor, which I believe he mentioned it was Southern Hobby. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that was the distributor that the information was coming from. He got his, I guess, news or allocation of the ETB reprint, right? And it kind of goes to the point I was trying to mention before. Be careful where you're getting your information from. People may have biases, so if they're on the collecting side, they may try to spread this, I guess, sort of hopeful nature. So he got his, I guess, allocation, whatever you want to call it. Guess how much it was. You probably watched the video already if you're in this whole space, right? But if you haven't, he got 5 ETBs. 5. Not cases, 5 ETBs. Now, hearing this, it kind of makes you question, is this really a reprint? Because according to Danny Phantom, he said it was actually a reprint, like it was a confirmed actual reprint. But if it really was a reprint, I mean, it must have been tiny, or just everybody is getting allocated Pokemon, everyone's buying it, and that's why it's only 5 ETBs. But I would think from a reprint, it would be a little bit bigger, but it could be also another possibility. Maybe this is just some product that's been held back. But if it is a reprint, it did nothing, right? 5 ETBs is crazy. That's nothing. And I think he probably has a decent amount of spend with that distributor, and he got 5 ETBs, which is pretty crazy because that's obviously not going to do anything. And what's even more crazy, and sort of the other point, was that they're not charging like anywhere really close to wholesale price. Like I said, Danny Phantom did say in that video that he thought that these, distributors were not going to mark them up that much. But guess what? According to Anon here, he said they're charging $85 an ETB. Now think about it. Right now, ETBs are sitting around $140, right? If a store is getting 5 ETBs, even maybe a case, right? And they're getting each ETB at $85. Who's going to sell Prismatic for anything, let's say, even under like $120? Because you're buying it at $85. This is like the most expensive, most popular set so far in this era by far. Who's going to sell it for under market, really? Let's be honest here. If they are, maybe $10-20. I don't even think this reprint is gonna make this go under $100 at all. Like, just based on this, I don't think it's possible. So distributors are continuing to mark up these products for these stores. These stores are obviously gonna have to sell it for higher than what they're paying, and since they're paying over what they usually get at wholesale pricing, the prices aren't gonna drop much. And if people in stores are getting minuscule amounts of product, this is going to do nothing. Now, obviously, it's just from one distributor. There may be other ones too in the future that get, the reprint or whatever, and maybe that will change something. But just based on this information, I don't think prices are going to change much. If they're marking it up like they are, it's possible other distributors are going to mark it up even more. Maybe they have even less. Maybe they have a little bit more. But with a set like Prismatic, I mean, we saw a $10 decrease a few days, right? And we saw the sales spike. You can see here it dropped to 130s. Even here it dropped a little bit below that. Look at how the sales increased right here, right? Compared to the last few weeks here where you see just the sales around 50 boxes. And then in this time period, it was around 100. So if there are any sort of price decreases with this reprint, let's say it goes to 120, it's probably not going to last long. Because just look at this. This is obvious data right here. Just this few days where it went down a little bit, where there was a huge increase in sales volume. Now, for some reason, it's kind of strange. There's just this one day, only 35 ETB sold, but it's just one day. It's whatever. But yeah, I mean, so far from this news we're seeing here, things don't look that great in terms of this reprint being anything meaningful in terms of just dropping prices. It looks like it's going to be like every single other reprint we've really seen, where it does absolutely nothing. So I think this information that we're getting here in this update, this revelation to this whole reprint news, goes to show something. You really got to make sure and understand where you're getting your information from. Like I said, Danny Phantom, he's more on the collecting side. He wants to be hopeful with prices going down. Maybe he did get relayed some information that really made it seem like prices were really going to decrease because there's this huge supply. That's definitely a possibility. But you got to kind of take everything with a grain of salt until you actually see the facts. And now we have some facts because we have a person here that has their allocation for the ETBs, and it's nothing. So it goes to reinforce, don't just make rash decisions, quick decisions to just sell everything because you hear about this reprint. I'm telling you, until we see a reprint that comes out that's actually big, until we see that, don't make quick decisions to sell your stuff, because I know there's probably some people, and honestly, I don't know if it was just perfect timing, but it seems like just as that video came out where Danny Phantom made that news that this reprint was coming, that's kind of when this, price dropped. I think maybe it was just perfect timing. I don't know if anything was correlated with that, but I noticed like on that day, like the prices for the ETBs were like 130. So, don't make these quick decisions, because you might regret it. Because let's say this reprint comes out, and obviously probably not going to do anything. How long after till that do we get another reprint of Prismatic? Because if we don't, and this continues to just, either stay stagnant or whatever, it's eventually going to go up, right? Because we've recently, in the past month, really haven't seen any price increases for Prismatic. Most of the products really haven't done anything. If this continues for another few months after this reprint and we don't get any more Prismatic, I feel like prices will continue to go up, even though in the past month we haven't seen anything. So hopefully you guys didn't sell because of this news. I didn't sell a single thing because I'm like, okay, there's really no reason for me to sell anyways, because a lot of these products haven't done much. And I'm still, pretty hopeful that prices are going to keep going up. And I really did, in the back of my head, was like, this reprint's probably not going to do much. I can't believe that an ETB reprint of Prismatic at this point in time would do anything, because this set's only 2 months old, right? For them to reprint ETBs to the point where prices would really go down a lot, they would have to print a ton of this stuff, and I really wouldn't believe it. And it's still really strange to me that this reprint would be ETBs and not a booster bundle, because it's not efficient, right? These boxes are bigger, there's way more stuff that they put in here. Pretty sure they probably hand pack all these things. It's not that great. So I feel like this reprint, I feel like it could be a possibility. There's no, I guess, information or any confirmation from my end, but I feel like this could just be some product that was held back, honestly, in my opinion, because I don't think reprinting ETBs would be smart at all at this point. They should have just done booster bundles, but that's just my take on it. And yeah, this reprint is not going to do anything. So Prismatic, these reprints, I think, Danny Phantom did say they were supposed to come out, I think, sometime later this month or something like that. You're probably not even going to notice it in the market, to be honest. So, yeah. Reprints are yet to do anything to the market. We're yet to see a huge reprint of anything. I don't know when it's going to come. But until that day comes, reprints have done nothing to this market, and it's shown. So, just wanted to update you guys on this news. For Prismatic Evolutions, the ETB reprint most likely would do absolutely nothing to this market. So, yeah, that's all I want to talk about. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you on the next one.